Okay, so now we're going to be taking a look at a slightly trickier concept to get across than others, and that is the X-ray or X-ray attack. Now, this is hugely important, and actually I constantly remind my students to watch out for X-rays because I find that many improving players, they know things, they know to watch out for forks, they know to watch out for pins, even for skewers, but they very, very often ignore X-rays. So what is an X-ray? Well, an X-ray, some people use this word interchangeably with skewer, but this is really far from what an X-ray is, if we were to leave it at that. Most of the time, the more common usage is any tactic where one piece is indirectly attacking an enemy piece, even though there may be a lot of pieces in between, right? And alternatively, you can be defending one of your pieces through an enemy piece. So once again, if you haven't got a clue what I'm talking about, don't worry. We'll show a couple of examples and it'll soon become clear. At least that's the plan. Let's imagine that white were to play e4 here. And now black played e5 and we wanted to set up an X-ray. Well, we could actually set one up very, very quickly by playing a move like queen to e2. Now where's the X-ray? Well, the queen is eyeing the enemy king, but it's very much an indirect attack because the king is on e8, the queen is on e2, and then there are these two pawns here on e4 and e5 that stand in the way. Nonetheless, X-rays are important because you never know when those pawns are going to disappear. And the fact that the queen is eyeing up the king can make a big difference depending on how the game unfolds. If white played a move that I would certainly never advise, and that is the move queen h5, then white would once again be X-raying the king. Notice this is an indirect attack because there is a pawn in the way, while, for example, the attack on the e5 point is a direct attack. So that is, once again, another X-ray. Now, X-rays can have many different types of effects that both sides need to consider, but in this case, by X-raying the king, the pawn on f7 is actually pinned. So that is one of the consequences of X-rays. Not always, of course. If, for instance, the move queen e2 was played, then here black could move his pawn because of course there is a second pawn there. Let's take a look at some real-life examples of X-rays now, and you will come to understand how important a concept it is to keep in mind. So this first game is a game played between Jonathan Tisdall and the strongest female chess player of all time, Judith Polgar, on the black side. And this game actually is a really good way of illustrating why some people think of X-rays purely as kind of a skewer, right? Here's how the game unfolded. Black played the move queen to d7. White played knight d2. Black now played the move rook h4. And so what is actually going on is that this rook on h4 is not really X-raying, let's say, any piece. There is no piece on any of these squares, but it is sort of having a skewer-like effect over these squares, right? And we'll see what kind of consequences that can have. Knight goes to f3, knight takes f3, queen takes f3, black plays rook to h3. Judith Polgar, by the way, a very, very strong tactician. White simply dropped the queen back, and now Judith combined the X-ray. It's like an X-ray along this rank. And now Judith Polgar used this X-ray like a skewer in playing the very clever move queen a4 check. White actually immediately resigned because if he accepts the queen, now the X-ray of that rook all the way up as far as the a4 square means that black can play rook takes rook with check, the king must step back, and now rook h1 is the point. A very, very nice tactic based on a combination of this skewer-like X-ray as well as back rank mating themes. So very, very nice finish. Of course, here white just resigned. If the king steps back to b1, then black can continue either with rook takes rook or even rook h1. Both are devastating. So we can see why people use X-ray and a skewer interchangeably in some situations. Let's now take a look at some more common examples of X-rays. Okay, so here this is a more recent game. The black pieces are commanded by a very strong Bulgarian grandmaster, Kirill Georgiev, and really illustrates very nicely the concept of an X-ray. So after b takes c4, that was the last move played by black. White played g3 here, and now black plays queen b7, which creates an X-ray on this knight on f3. And after white goes king to g2, now the X-ray extends all the way to the king on g2. In fact, you could say that in this position, the X-ray already extends all the way to h1. It's just highly unlikely that the black queen would ever use this square on h1. So after king to g2, now black plays the move rook c to d8. And this is a very strong move because of this X-ray. Also, we see this skewer on the rook on d5 again. Interchangeable terms at times between skewer and X-ray. White plays queen takes rook, rook takes rook, rook takes rook with check, and king goes to h7. White actually has gained 2 rooks in exchange for his queen, which is usually pretty good, but this X-ray of the queen has now become just a simple pin on this knight on f3. So white has to deal with the threat of knight takes e5, and he has no good way to stop that. For example, rook e1 is not possible because the knight would capture. And if he plays, say, for instance, rook to e8, then this pawn will roll forward very, very fast. So white is simply tied down. He played the move rook to d1, but after knight takes e5, he had to play rook to d5 just to deal with the threat against this knight on f3. Knight takes, king takes, and now black ran the pawn up the board, and white is simply too uncoordinated to do anything about it. The game, just for curiosity's sake, continued rook d7, queen c6, rook d6, queen c4, rook to d4, queen back, rook to d8, check, and here white resigned. Next move, c2. So that is one example. Let's move on to the next. This is a really nice modern example here, and it's the great Ukrainian genius Vasily Ivanchuk with the white pieces. And black played rook to c8 here. White went queen to b7, creating a threat of check, followed by king to h8 and checkmate. It's important to note that in this position, white's activity is so great that the position is just losing for black, even though he's only down a pawn, this pawn here on b5. But all of white's pieces are so much better. So his opponent, Dutch Grandmaster Van Bailey, could really have done anything other than sort of forestall the inevitable. But after the move queen c7, white forces a very, very quick victory. And he uses X-ray to do this. First of all, he plays a nice deflection tactic. He plays the move rook e8 check. The point is that this rook is overloaded in covering the e8 square and defending the queen on c7. So if rook takes rook, queen takes queen, it's game over. And so this forces the king, drives the king to g7. And here's the point. We have the queen on b7 is X-raying the king. Notice that this is an indirect attack on the king because there are 2 pieces that stand in the way, but you never know how you might be able to take advantage of this and clear the path. And here Ivanchuk does so very nicely. He comes up with the move knight e6 check, forking the queen and the king. Pawn takes knight is necessary, and now the skewer-like X-ray in effect. Rook e7 check. The queen on b7 supports the rook on e7 by means of this X-ray. Notice that when we were defining it at the very start, I know you guys probably didn't find the explanation too clear. It's hard to explain it and understand it. At least for me, I find much easier to just show examples. But at the start we said how an X-ray can be an attack on an enemy piece, but it can also be a way to defend one of your own pieces. So here rook e7 check, queen takes rook, and queen takes queen, game over. Really a very nice example. Let's take a look at one final example, which, I've saved the best for last. In my opinion, this is a really beautiful illustration of the X-ray theme in play. So let's go to see that. Okay, so here we are, and the player with the white pieces is former world champion Vishy Anand. And Anand here is an exchange down, a little bit of material down, but all of his pieces are beautifully placed, or most of them at least. This knight is maybe not so great, and this rook is not so great. But he has a really strong attack with these powerful bishops, the queen, and also these two very strong pawns on f5 and g5. And here we see that currently there are no obvious targets that white can capture, but there is an X-ray. This bishop is eyeing up the pawn on h7, and only his own pawn stands in the way. So white plays f6, and now creates this threat of queen takes h7, because now the bishop will have been supported. Things that make X-rays so powerful, which is that any given moment you can clear the path, or you may be able to. Now, black captured on f6, the point being that now the queen defends, and g takes f6. And we'll take a look at this, but let me just take a step back and say, well, what if black had played the move g6? Here, white could continue in a few ways, but perhaps the most spectacular is bishop takes pawn on g6. And this again works on the basis of an X-ray, this queen on h4, having an X-ray influence all the way to the h8 square, and the bishop on d4, similar. So after pawn takes, we clear the path of the bishop with the sacrifice f7, check. Now if rook takes f7, queen h8 is checkmate. Same goes for queen takes pawn, so only move is king takes f7. Now queen h7 check, king must go to e6, and now rook e1 check. The king has no squares, so he must block, but after rook takes e5, with check again, the best bet that black has is the very sad queen takes rook. If white now just recaptures, black cannot even take this bishop because queen e7 check is at a minimum going to collect this rook on f8. Now, if black simply goes to d6, white has a very powerful move, knight f5 check, and after pawn takes knight, queen h6 check is the point, hitting the king and also hitting this rook on f8. So this would be one way of using X-rays, with this crashing through here on g6, and that is why black played pawn takes f6 instead, defending the pawn on h7. Now pawn takes, rook to f7, and here white creates another X-ray, rook to g1, X-raying the black king. And at any given moment, white is going to play a move like knight f5 or knight h5 or even knight e4 with a deadly discover check. The black king stepped to h8, and now he has eliminated that X-ray, but in moving to h8, there's a new X-ray that has been created. And that's why I really love this example, because Anand punishes this. And I should say, not only this new X-ray gets created, but a second X-ray gets created as well, which is the X-ray of the bishop. And so Anand combines these two with a very nice sacrifice. Bishop takes h7. The point is that now there will be some deadly discovered attacks if you do not take. But after rook takes h7, the whole point is Anand can move this pawn. f7 check. Only move is knight g7, and now bishop takes g7. And what's really, really nice about this particular example, for me at least, is that black must take. In fact, I should say black resigned here, right? Seeing what would unfold. But if black wanted to continue, he must take. And now he's stepping onto this X-ray. Now, knight f5 check, king takes f7, queen takes h7, check, king e6 is the best move, knight d4 check. Now if, for example, king to f6 or king to e5 actually loses even faster, queen f5 check, king takes d4, queen f2 check, and now it's simply mate next move. If king to e4, rook e1 is mate. If king to c4, b3 is mate. And if king to e5, again, rook e1 is also checkmate. Yeah, so a really, really nice example. And after knight d4 check, if king f6, queen f5 check, king e7, queen e6 check, king d8, and rook g8. It's just a crushing mating attack. But yeah, for me, what really makes it very nice, if we backtrack a little bit, is that in this original position here after the move queen c7, Anand has this one X-ray here, as well as the bishop and the queen pressing the h8 square. And the only reason why the queen and the bishop don't have access to this square is because the pawns stand in the way. But as we see, first f6 activates this X-ray of the bishop on d3. And then after pawn takes, rook goes to f7, so as to prevent these kind of ideas. And now rook g1, the next X-ray, and we saw all the discovered check jumps available. The king steps away, but we see two new X-ray possibilities arising, and immediately white punishes that with bishop takes h7, first eliminating the pawn that was blocking the queen's access to h8, and after rook takes, eliminates the pawn blocking the bishop. And so suddenly the bishop and the queen both come into play. The king is forced to run onto the g-file, but of course it had previously left the g-file. And of course here it's already forced mate, and black understandably resigned. He in fact resigned in this very nice position. So that is X-rays. I hope you guys enjoyed the examples of this, and yeah, my advice, take a look at your games and try and spot any X-rays as they arise. I can promise you there are many, it's very, very common, and you basically won't go any game without having an X-ray here or there, either for you or your opponent. And yeah, in my experience, a lot of students of the game, they don't pay enough attention to them. So make an effort to do so, and I promise you it will pay off. Okay, that's it from me, and I'll see you in the next section.